Well, you find me back down at Monk Lakes. I'm on the members lakes again. I had one decent session in this swim where I caught 420s in 24 hours. I've got a couple of hours until it gets dark, so you never know, I might get a bite this evening, but probably more likely it'll be tomorrow morning when it kick off. No signs of carp at all. It looked quite dead, the lake. I didn't know if it was going to happen, and nothing did happen. I was expecting to get at least 2 more by now, but it doesn't matter too much. At least I've had one. I'm going to get him back and hopefully we'll get a few more today. Obviously on top of that I would probably add corn, but forgot it. So, well, you find me back down at Monk Lakes. I'm on the members lakes again, and I've come back into my favourite swim on this particular lake. The only reason I've come in here is just because I caught last time from this swim, because it's shallow and it was really hot last time they were up here. It is still quite hot, but it is not as boiling as it was. It's quite windy as well. The reason I'm in my bivvy is because it's really windy outside, and I didn't want it to mess up the sound so you can hear me. But obviously if I get a carp I have to go outside with it. And yeah, that's going to be joyful as well. The wind's probably hacking in as well. I'm sure it's going to calm down. It's a bit cloudy at the moment, but I'm hoping the sun's going to be out for a couple of hours of the evening anyway. I've got here a bit later than I expected really, but I think it's going to be challenging. I've got until tomorrow afternoon, so I've got plenty of time on the lake to try and catch something decent anyway. It'd be nice to get another 20 from this lake. It's been a bit challenging getting the bigger carp. I had one decent session in this swim where I caught 420s in 24 hours. And then since then it's been a bit of a struggle really. Most of the carp I've been catching are sort of mid doubles, upper doubles, and that's been it. But last time I was here I did actually manage to get a nice 20 mirror out of this swim, so I'm kind of hopeful to try and get some bigger carp out of here. But it's just been a while. That's the other thing, is it's just been a while since I've caught anything really big. Last time was probably the biggest one I've had for a little while. So it's nice to get something decent, but overall I am trying to get some of the higher 20s, and also there's some 30s that I would like to get in here. Previous sessions in here I've pretty much cast to the same spots, and last time I was in here I decided to cast to the same spots, and only 2 of them worked. It was the one on the margin and one off the end of the island towards the bay, but the one that I cast in the middle of the island, which is like a little hanging tree, a good marker anyway. It's a good little marker, that one, because I did a lot of leading around when I first came to this swim, and I did find it firmer and a little bit rocky under it as well, which was really good because it's mostly clay, the lake, so if you find little stones and stuff, clearly something has fed in it and it's pulled the stones out and exposed them a little bit, so it is a really good spot. But the other thing is I haven't had huge amounts on it recently, but I did do a little casting before I started and it's nice and rocky again, so something's definitely fed on it recently. So I've decided to put one back there, even though it hasn't done huge amounts in the last couple of sessions on in this swim. I've decided to stick with it. Maybe it might produce one more big one, because it has produced my PB common from that spot, so definitely going to stick with it for now, but I'm not 100% confident on that one at the moment. And the other rod is on the right hand side of the island towards the bay. Now I've come back a couple of foot just because it's quite shallow on the island. The water has been dropping at this lake for the last couple of months, and I think it's lost like 2.5 foot of water, something like that. And the islands used to be about 1.5 foot. If you fished about 1.5 foot from the island, you got about 1.5 to 2 foot of water, pretty much at that distance. But now it's really shallow, so I've had to come back even more, because there's like a little slope and then there's a little drop and then there's a little bit more of a slope again as it comes down from the island. So yeah, the closer I'm to it, pretty much the shallower it gets on that island. There isn't a sudden drop. Some islands have like a sudden massive drop and they're just like 3 or 4 foot downwards, and this one isn't. It's like a slope, so it is really shallow up against the island. I've tried casting around and it's just, yeah, it's like 1/2 foot of water if I get any closer, so I don't really want to be too close to the island. The other one I've come back about 1.5 foot, but that's slightly more deeper around that spot, so at least I can come back that far. But the other one I've come back another foot or so, just because I want to be able to have enough water above me for a fish to come in, otherwise they're going to get stuck. No, I don't think they will get stuck, which I sure they'll be that confident feeding that such shallow water, but it is quite warm, they may move into there, but I just wanted to make sure that I was in a decent amount of water, that is. And the last one is the one in the margin. Now normally I go around, bait up, and then come back and cast out over the top of it. Now obviously I keep saying the water's dropped out, so now I can walk round, so it's pretty easy for me. I literally just walk up to basically where the trees end. I've used a marker, there's like a long tree line, it goes all along, and when it stops and then there's like a little gap between trees, that's my little marker, and every time I come here I fish on that exact spot and I always get bites. Yeah, so basically what I did, just walked along, flicked it out, dropped it in, perfect. Good drop, good spot as well, and now I can actually feel it down. At least I can check it as well, because now and then you do pick up little bits of weed and little bits of root and stuff, so now I can actually properly give it a good old check instead of casting out and not knowing if I'm landing on anything. I've done about 4 or 5 little scoops of bait, and I've sort of spread it all over the place in that margin one. I've spread it further than the spot, and I've spread it a little bit more further out into the lake as well. I put about 5 spums on the island over each rod. I normally do about 4, but I've gone for extra 1 just because the roach in here have been absolutely a nuisance. And they've been tearing apart boilies in here. They've been just ripping them to bits. So I just thought more bait means that by the time the carp come along, hopefully some of that bait is still around and not being attacked and teared apart by roach. So that's the reason I've gone for a little bit more bait. Both the ones on the island are on helicopter setups with Ronnie rigs, and the one in the margin is on a lead clip on a Ronnie rig. Now the one cast to the middle of the island, that is on a red Lobster Dumbell Wafter, and I've tipped it off with a microplastic corn. And the one on the end of the island and the one in the margin, that's on a Dumbell All-Nut Wafter, tipped off with a microplastic corn. Now I've decided to change up on my mix slightly, but I've completely changed on this time because I've actually forgotten sweet corn, which I normally put in my mix, but it doesn't matter too much. I've made some little changes, but that one's probably the biggest change that I've had to make because I've forgotten sweet corn. I could always go and get some corn from the shop here, but the only problem is I kind of want to get on and start fishing, and you know, so I didn't want to mess around. I thought, yeah, I'll do. The mix is actually made up of 15mm red lobsters, that's half, and I've also put some whole ones in there. That's to try and slow down the roach a little bit, just so there's bait left in the swim, because I think the 15mm halves are probably going to get teared to bits a little bit by them, so I put some whole ones in. That is one of my changes. I've also got some 12mm all-nut boilies in there as well, and I've got 6mm all-nut pellets and 8mm ocean fruit pellets as well. Obviously on top of that I would probably add corn, but forgot it. I'm also adding the all-nut glug in there as well, just to add the extra attraction, and also just to try and create a bit more of a scent in there as well. Obviously when you put in bait in the lake, there's lots of little silt pockets and you know, other things in the lake that make it smell a bit funny, so it's nice to just fresh your bait up with a glug or a liquid, just to make sure that the scent is around for a bit longer, and yeah, hopefully it draws in a couple or 2 on this session. I've got a couple of hours until it gets dark, so you never know, I might get a bite this evening, but probably more likely it'll be tomorrow morning when it kick off. So yeah, let's see what happens. I'm just going to sit back and relax, and you never know. Well, I managed to get a bite, not very big, only £15 this one. This is on the All Nut Wafter. Yeah, it's been tricky so far. I was expecting to get at least 2 more by now, but it doesn't matter too much. At least I've had one. I'm going to get him back and hopefully we'll get a few more today. Let's see anyway. Well, at least I had a nice start there. At least I've caught one so far. It's been weird really, because I was kind of expecting to get one in the evening and nothing happened at all. To be honest, I didn't see anything. I didn't see at all anything. I saw no jumps, no shows, no signs of carp at all. It looked quite dead, the lake. And I didn't know if it was going to happen, and nothing did happen. And then overnight I was expecting something to happen. I had probably one indication the whole night, and then that was it. Nothing else happened. It was pretty quiet again. I didn't hear anything splashing or showering or anything. It was yeah, not very great. But first thing this morning, it did look really good, but I still wasn't seeing any signs of fish. But there was plenty of roach showing down on this area, and I was kind of hoping that maybe when the sun comes out a bit more, warms up, maybe they'll come down here. But then suddenly I had to take, so it was worth coming down in this area. I had nothing else to go on when I turned up as well. There was nothing to go on. The only reason I came in here is because last time I caught, so that was it. That's all I had to go on. Nothing else was happening, and I've made some kind of progress. I'm going to keep going. I've got all today, so I've got plenty of time still. I recast and respawned as quick as I could after having that carp, and again, nothing's happened since. But yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle, but I think when the sun comes out a bit more and it warms up, I do think that it will be the odd one or two up here, sun themselves. It was a lot windier yesterday, but today it's very calm, and I think that is probably the best chance of me getting multiple takes in this really shallow water when the sun's out and the wind is not too bad, like it's not absolutely crazy, like massive waves coming through, then yeah, they come up here and sun themselves and you can get bites even on the bottom. Probably in an hour or two I'll probably bring in the other rods and refresh the hook baits and recast, just because they didn't go and nothing happened on them. But I usually wait until about 8 o'clock or so before that happens. I like to give it a little bit of time just in case suddenly something might happen, you never know. So I don't really like to bring it in when there's that period of time where they could feed. But after sort of 8 o'clock, you don't really usually get anything. So I probably will definitely bring them in, refresh them, recast. I'm not going to put any more bait in, I'm just going to stick with what I've got for now. I'm probably going to wait until about midday before I put any more bait in over the other spot. Obviously I've just put more bait in over the top of that one that went, so I don't need to do anything with that one, but I may put in a spot or two over the other ones, but probably wait until midday before I do that. Just for now I'm just going to, like I said, just going to sort out the hook baits and see what happens from then, and hopefully I'll get something today. I'm going to keep going, keep trying, and yeah, let's see what happens. Well, didn't manage to get another bite in the end. It's been really challenging, it's been difficult, I don't know why. I've been hearing some positive things. Multiple people have caught multiple carp in between a couple of night sessions. I was at least expecting to get 2 or 3, but I managed to get 1. At least I didn't blank. All I gotta say about this session is that it's been tricky and hard, and that's fishing for you, really. You know, sometimes you do get multiple bites and sometimes you struggle, but yeah, didn't blank, I suppose. That's maybe the positive I could take from this session. Definitely gonna be back down in a couple of weeks time. Maybe then I'll get a few more bites, but at the moment not really fishing that well, but hopefully then it will kick off again and I'll get a few carp. You never know anyway. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.